This is going to be called Hababble because we're babbling about Habbo. This is going to be the first episode of what we hope is going to be even more episodes, and hopefully we'll have special guests and talk about special things and all stuff like that. So hopefully that'll be how it starts. I'll be doing this regularly with Joe, aka Pulks, and hopefully we'll just have more people on it and see how it goes. Watch like no one listen to us. It'll just be me and you talking. Just
hello to our two listeners. On Twitter, everyone's a bit pissed off because Bonnie Blonde's car, you can't sit in it. A dwarf couldn't get in it. It's really bad. Actually, somebody put a little tweet. Let me find it.
Expectation versus reality.
Yes, that tweet. What, do Habbo sit on the roof?
I don't think you can sit in it. No, you can't.
It's like the Italian Job, but for kids.
Hey, this is Miley. Welcome to Habbo Runway.
Habbo is releasing a new fairy tale campaign.
Yeah, I'm actually super excited for it. A couple of months ago, I had 2 members of staff just be like, "You are going to go crazy for the Easter line," and I couldn't guess what it was. I was like, "What do they know that I like?" And I was like, "Pink and flamingos. That's all anyone knows about me." And then when I saw, I think the clothing always gets scanned way before the Fernie does, and from the clothing we could kind of guess that it was going to be edging onto a fairy tale theme, and I knew straight away. I was like, right, this is fairy tale, this is so me, this is perfect. So
I remember actually the first event that I ever built with you was like a fairy tale. I built a Beauty and the Beast type room.
It was the magical library one.
Yes.
What's your favourite item?
My favourite item is probably the wolf, and as usability, it's probably the path or the little mushrooms or something like that.
The flowers are gorgeous as well, and they have really nice colours.
Yeah, I don't really like the fact they're so squared.
Yeah, and they've got no black lines either, so that's kind of a bit weird.
Yeah.
Yeah, the flower lamp is really nice. I just wish with things like that they would have different states and they could grow, because when you're using them, when you're using a lot of them in one room, it all just looks a bit. Your eye just is automatically drawn to it because it's the exact same item. But if it was different, then it would give the room a lot more realism.
Yeah, there is an old type flower lamp in the Easter range.
That's the tulipy looking one, isn't it?
Yeah, and that works quite well with it because you can sort of mix and match the heights. But there's a lot of characters in this Fernie line, which is good for the Fernie line. But I think after the campaign is completed, they're gonna be difficult to use.
Well, they're just so specific. That's the problem. So the Busy Bunny, as it's called, and the Earth Dragon, and all the little characters. They're beautifully made, and they're lovely colours. They move really well, but you can only use them for one thing. And I think that's my one criticism with this Fernie line, is that there's literally only about 6 items you can build with. So if someone were to say to you, build a room with the new Fernie, you wouldn't have that great of a room, because you've got one tree, you've got one floor tile, you've got set flowers, mushrooms, one wall item. Fair enough, the wall item has about 3 different states, but it's still the same thing. I think that is my one criticism of the entire thing. But we've got lovely little characters in the games now, and I know the Harry Potter roleplay is going to go crazy over the hippogriff.
Yeah, because in the past we used the hippogriff statue, and that was kind of how we did the book beak scene, and now we've got this really cool actual animated hippogriff, which is going to be it's just going to make the Harry Potter RP scene so much better.
Say hello to Buckbeak.
Hagrid, exactly what is that?
That, Ron, is a hippogriff.
Can you sit on it?
I don't know. That'd be amazing because you could do the whole flight scene, right?
Yeah, I don't think you can sit on it. I don't think that's the thing.
Yeah.
They've missed an opportunity there.
I like the mystical bird.
Yes, I love the colours on it. What's your least favourite item?
My least favourite item. To be honest, this is like one of the strongest sets of items that I've ever seen. Or that for a long time. Obviously their quality just keeps getting better and better. But my least favourite item, or the item I'm most disappointed by, is probably I don't know. It's either the teleporter.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I like the teleporter, but I feel like they could have done the Alice in Wonderland fall down the hole type thing better, and that would have been really cool. So much of it's so good. I think probably the item that has the weirdest sort of look is the woodland critters. I think they look quite different to all the other Fernies, and they're quite big, and the style's quite different.
Yeah, they really look like they belong on a retro, and they have different styles. They're huge as well. Like, that's the one thing I just can't cope with when it comes to the woodland critters is when you put them in a room, they're massive, and it would be so good if, you could toggle the states and then just have like just the bunny, just the squirrel, just the deer. But you can't do that. It's just one thing, and it doesn't do anything. I think they move around a little bit, but you can't change it. I feel like
I don't know what the designers were on that week, but I mean, they've made this massive deer and they've made a tiny car. I mean, I think maybe the designer got it the wrong way around.
Cars knock deer down all the time. Bonnie's car wouldn't.
I think the deer would probably knock Bonnie's car down.
Just trample on it.
So what's your favourite item and least favourite item?
Least favourite woodland critters. I think the woodland critters is the only thing I don't like, and it was the only thing I kind of begrudged using when I was building with the new line. Like, if I could, I wouldn't have used it in the room because it just it's just so different compared to everything else. Favourite, in terms of look, I think maybe the Earth Dragon. I just think it's like a beautiful item. In terms of usability, I agree with you on the Earth Path, the Dirt Path even. The forest floor is really nice as well, and the tree is gorgeous. It's lovely, like it's got lovely colouring. The flowers on it are really nice. I love like that the leaves dangle down. It's got more than one state. Like it's really nice.
Yeah, it's definitely one of the best trees on Habbo to date.
Yeah, and the LTD throne I think is really nice. But what I find with LTDs is I like it when they bring out an LTD that I don't want, because that way I don't feel like I need to buy it because they're always really expensive.
Where's the LTD? Oh, the flower throne.
Yeah.
That doesn't come across as an LTD to me. It
looks like a
looks
red,
special. It's too small. If you look at the whole line and you had to pick out what the LTD was, you wouldn't pick that.
No, but I'm always really thankful when the LTD is something that I don't want, because when they've brought out LTDs that I do want, like the elephant, or the wishing well that they brought out a while back, I have to fork out for them, and it's really annoying. But if they just bring out something that's like a throne, or it's like a type of tree or an organ, it's just something that I don't really want. It doesn't add anything to the room.
So basically, you want Habbo to like bring out a tiny little petal on the floor that's really ugly and make it an LTD.
Yeah, because I won't want it, and I'm okay with that.
Like the little turnip buddies. Let's make them an LTD. Make it happen.
Oh my gosh, that's so weird. They have different states, so you can toggle it. So you can just have one of the turnips.
Yeah, little dancing on its own.
I don't know why they didn't do that for the woodland critters.
So yeah, Habbo, it's still your fault. Fix it.
Thanks.
Oh my god, dude. So fucking dead.
Jesus.
So
Wait, is that a
fucking
real
dead.
picture?
I think it's a real photo of a deer that probably jumped into a pool and then just fucking thrashed around and drowned. So that's
Jeez, is that true?
that's delightful.
What is that actually happened?
Of course it happened. I think this is a reflection of how just
Oh my god!
dark we've become.
Oh.
So the new clothing, what do you think?
Top of the dress isn't recolorable.
Which dress? The petal dress?
Yes, that's my only criticism of the clothing. Everything else I think is great, especially the mushroom hat.
Why the mushroom hat, Jade? Is there anything in particular that the mushroom hat reminds you of?
Yeah, it looks really similar to one of the Ecotron mushrooms actually, because it's red with white spots.
Talking about mushrooms, you once did a room that was very mushroom orientated.
The room was made by me and Priorities, and it was basically it was an event for Mod Davju, the Tired, and he found out from another mod that I was quite good at making events, and I'd made a few for this other mod, and he wanted one himself. So she got him in contact with me, and we said to him what event do you want? It can be anything. It can be related to the campaign. It can be
any event
you
in
like.
the world.
Anything
Any
in the
event
world.
you can choose.
He said, "Well, I really like mushrooms." And me and Priorities were like, "Okay, we can do a mushroom event for you if you want." And he was like, "Yeah, no. A lot of people in Spain go out and pick mushrooms." I was like, "Oh, okay, good to know." So I really like mushrooms, and I really want a mushroom event with a mushroom badge. Okay, Joe, I think you ended up making that badge. And
I did, and I think he must have been smoking some mushrooms for that week.
Found these mushrooms. I was fucking starving. This place is kind of juicy.
At the event, he was bigging you up. He was your hype man. He was in the corner. He was really
was
happy.
great. Between every single round, he'd be like, "Big shout out for Friction and Priorities for making this event," and he was just hilarious. Yeah, me and Jess were in call the whole time, just loving it. But it ended up being some mushroom auto run, and it was really fun actually. But the whole mushroom thing became a bit of a thing where we were just convinced that this mod was a massive stoner, and he was just obsessed with being high on mushrooms. And do mushrooms even get you high? I'm not very good when it comes to drugs.
Magic mushrooms do, I think.
Okay.
But I don't think a moderator would be doing that. Of course not.
I blaze up. Now the smoke is starting.
But this hat is definitely Dave's hat. If Dave was still on Habbo, rest in peace. He would be wearing this hat.
Rest in peace.
He would be rocking this hat, and people would go up to him and go, "Hey, Dave, mushroom head."
Oh, he would love it.
He would be rocking that hat. Well, there's lots of other great fernies. Let's just not focus on the mushroom, the big giant red mushroom.
Look at all these cool costumes. Oh, wow. Where are we?
Hi, everybody. Welcome to my really cool costume shop, where you can be anything you imagine.
What actually gets me about the mushroom is, in no way did the designer that made it think this
What are
doesn't
you
look
insinuating?
slightly
Jake?
phallic.
What are you insinuating?
It's very phallic
Insinuating
looking.
designing little dirty little cretins?
No, of course not. I mean, they did make the boobs jiggle in the Mrs. Claus outfit, so
That's very true.
I'm not going to go there. but there's just no way that they haven't had a giggle about this whole thing in the office, and then they're not like anticipating what people are saying and the pictures that people are going to post, and like they've got to be doing it on purpose, and I don't believe that they're not.
You know
but
that tree on Habbo, Jade? You know that tree on Habbo? Where you extend it and it looks a bit rude.
The bow something.
Yeah, I wonder if people would. I wonder if people are going to end up stacking this into that and trying to combine to make, some like custom item. I don't really know.
Bow tree.
Yeah, they might stick that on the end and make a custom item. It'll be like the new, all the stackers on Twitter are going to be like, guys, we found this new stack. It's amazing.
Oh my gosh.
Let's hope not, because Habbo would probably have to, Channel 4 would be called in, and there'd be a lot of issues again.
Tonight, an exclusive report on the massive global children's website Habbo Hotel that has become a mecca for
Mushroomphiles. Bore applications are back.
Ooh. Oh my gosh, Joe, there's going to be another person on Sandbox with us.
I know. Who will it be? Who will it be?
I hope it's
Will they
someone nice.
survive? Who knows? Find out in 2 weeks' time.
Well, we've got the Pac-Man room at the moment opened, and it's by a Habbo called Pokemon.
And his room is a Pac-Man themed room. I've been reading on Twitter, because I don't really go on that much lately. I've been on Sandbox, but don't really go on the main hotel, so I don't know what's cracking. But been hearing on the grapevine, Twitter, that room may have been reused, refactored. I don't know what word are we going to use, but it could be
recycled.
Yeah, upcycled maybe. Maybe it's back from the dead and it's brand new and shiny. But apparently, yeah, people have seen it before, in one form or another. I don't know how, but yeah. So that's a little bit of criticism. But other than that, reading the comments, people seem to like it. I mean, there is some good comments on there too, which is quite surprising. Usually it's just hate.
Well, I think the good comments are probably from members of one particular fan site.
Oh, okay. So probably, I mean, is this guy's obviously from one particular fan site, so obviously his fan site friends and people who work there probably going to support him, which is fair enough. We had the same thing. But yeah, if it goes down to a vote, which I hope it doesn't, Habbo shouldn't do popularity contests, because that always results in really negative drama and
It would be the president thing all over again.
Traitors! All their heads!
Oh, you blind bloody fool!
You can't insult me!
We've had vicious kings, and we've had idiot kings, but I don't know if we've ever been cursed with a vicious idiot.
You can't!
I can, I am!
That went really bad. People went to the extremes of setting bots up in rooms to spam vote for this person, and I mean, it just takes away from what you're actually trying to accomplish with the system, which is to find someone who can actually build and someone who can actually make good content for the game, right?
Yeah, the one criticism I heard about the Pac-Man room, which I completely agreed with, was the fact that to make the Pac-Man game, almost every fan site has a guide on it. So it's not really demonstrating that you're very good at Wired or you're a very good builder, because the room is quite simple. It's just got loads of colour tiles in it. It's pretty, it's pink, I like it. But it's not like, a piece of architecture. But at the same time, the game itself is very easy to make with a guide. So it's not really...
Yeah, I mean, all criticisms aside, it is the first room that is part of the selection process. So let's just wait and see. Maybe in the next podcast we'll go through the other ones. But I think so far it's a little disappointing to see a Pac-Man game for what is supposed to be sort of like a building competition, I suppose.
Have you played the game?
I haven't, but I've played Pac-Man about 1 million times on Habbo, so I just assumed it would be the same, and then put 2 and 2 together. So I'm entering the room. There's actually no building at all. This is just a game.
No, I told you this. It's literally just a pink room. It's a nice pink room.
Yeah, but is Boar supposed to be builders at work or games at work? Like, this is what I don't get about Boar. I mean, don't get me wrong. I think people who build wired games and build wired stuff on Habbo are probably some of the most genius content creators out there, and they respectfully deserve their own program. But builders at work should be about the creative community and encouraging people to build and use BC and really get into the Fernie merging and building with Fernie side of things rather than wired. I mean, wired is one part of it, but shouldn't be the focus.
Well, I think when Boar started, it wasn't supposed to be a thing where you created events and games and stuff. I mean, of course, badges are just a great way for people to encourage people to actually go to the rooms and play them, and I think that's what they started out as. But Boar was supposed to be showcasing what you can do with Builders Club, and that was the whole point of it, because Boar came out when Builders Club began.
Yeah, it was to sell Builders Club, right? It's to get people on board with Builders Club.
Alright, Silverhead. Let's make it look exactly like it does in the instructions. Hey, buddy, I need a 1x2 keyhole.
No problem, Michael.
2x2 macaroni over here.
2x2 macaroni flying in. Here's one, Mel.
Cheese floats! Come on, everybody!
Look at that, Roger.
Coming at you.
Can I get a couple LARPs over here?
Thanks, Gail.
Hey, guys, watch me drill this down.
That it encourages people to post their builds on Twitter again, because I feel like that's stopped a lot lately, and Twitter just used to be full of like people showing off what they could do, and it was great, and it was a really good place to find inspiration and to like really admire what people were doing.
I mean, obviously,
their diary.
Yeah, it's a platform for people to share their day to day as well as Habbo. But I think, obviously, it used to be very heavy on sharing what you create and sharing what you're doing on Habbo. And I think maybe that's related to the game's current state and the fact that we're kind of all waiting for this 2020 Habbo, and we're expecting more content to go into the game, and we're expecting more content from staff and expecting just the game to grow hopefully at some point. And I think maybe boredom has sort of resulted in what goes on Twitter from a day-to-day perspective, whether that's drama or just talking more about real life things than actually what their Twitter was created for, which is okay. But I think, like you said, it is disappointing to see the whole like creative community and people less inclined to share stuff about Habbo.
Yeah, hopefully it'll all change now.
And finally, Sandbox. Obviously, whoever gets through to the process and whoever becomes the new master leader alongside is it 3 people and a leader, or is it just 2 and a leader?
Well, I think it's anywhere from 1 to 3. So I think you can have 2 helpers, or you can have 1 helper, or maybe you can have no helpers. I'm not entirely sure about that one. I think it's either 1 or 2. Just to relieve the pressure, if anything.
And one of them has to be the selected person to go to be the master, to sort of go to Sandbox and things like that, right?
Yeah, and then the others get an increase in their BC allowance, which is fair enough, and
Yeah, it's the same as sort of the old boss system where you would have a leader, and you would have the other builders would get a perk bonus.
Mhm. And you get your BC sorted for the time that you're helping them as well, and HC as well. It's really great, to be honest.
Yeah. It's going to be interesting to see who makes it through the process and who joins us on the the .com side of Sandbox, and who contributes to future campaigns from a .com perspective. I think in a future podcast we're definitely interested in talking more about the whole experience of Sandbox and what's in store for people who go through it, and what you can expect, and maybe tips and little advisories along the way.
Mm-hmm. I love it. I think it's like, I'm so thankful that I have it. Like I said, if I didn't, I think I probably would have been gone a while ago, because it's the one thing that's kind of kept me going, because when the new Fernie comes on, it's like, oh my gosh, this is great, and you can see what it does and you can build with it, and then you're part of the campaign as well. Like, I love that. I love being part of it. I have this thing where whenever we get an invitation to do like the new build and the new campaign, I've never said no. I always agree to do it, because I just can't bear the thought of missing out on it. And it's just all that excitement, I think, is really what kind of does it for me on Sandbox. I think it's great.
It's funny, by the time the actual Fernie comes out on the hotel,
I'm sick of it.
Most people who are on Sandbox are just absolutely sick of it. Not sick of the designs, obviously, but just sick of building with it or using it, because it's they've used it for like the past month constantly, building rooms or being.
I'll tell you the one negative thing that comes out of it is it kind of ruins Christmas for me, because one of my favourite things about Christmas is the build up to it, and it all starts in December. But of course, when you're building for the Christmas campaign, it's got to be ready by December 1st. So you're invited to it by the end of October, and then all through November you're building, and it's like it's just Christmas, and it kind of ruins it a little bit.
Stupid tree! I hate Christmas!
The anger, the fury,
the muscles.
I mean, that's not a bad thing. I think everyone loves Christmas, right?
Yeah, well, there's so much I could take, but like I said, I would not have it any other way. I absolutely love it, and it's just really great to be a part of it, and it's really great working with other people as well. Like, I've made friends with so many people from the other hotels, like especially the Dutch hotel. I've got like Timo and Jen, and then there's just countless others that I wouldn't be able to name. But
it's interesting, because every new month or every couple of months there's new faces that appear on there, and you might not know them because they might not be on Twitter, or it's, obviously they're all from different hotels, so it's hard to follow every single hotel and what goes on there and how their bus systems work. But to see new people come on there, and new builders and new creative people, it's always fun to go up to them and meet them, and trying to speak to them in Spanglish or something like that is great.
And inside is
Bonjour.
Thank you for watching our first podcast. This was episode 1.
Next episode, Joe had a fantastic idea. We're going to be talking about the Habbo's exit from Flash. So it's going to be called Flexit, because that is very topical at the moment with the whole Brexit shit going on in the UK.
Yes, and it's going to be equal chaos, and we're going to draft in Theresa May to help us get through it. We're all going to be
Theresa May,
fine.
we need your deal, girl.
There's going to be no hard borders.
Trading deals?
There's going to be no trading locks. We're all going to be able to trade freely between each other. There's going to be no walls. The Lido will not be closed in. Pool will not be closed.
We have actually messaged a couple of the staff members to see if they could give us any kind of like drips or tidbits about the whole Habbo 2020 thing. But I think they're pretty much on lock at the moment, so the episode will just be our suggestions and our thoughts and our like what we anticipate. It's going to be nothing. Yeah, it's going to be complete speculation. It's going to be absolutely nothing official.
Need like a really generic outro.
We're going to be doing a live stream.
You can expect an episode every week, every Friday. I'm not going to stop editing.
We put out videos every Wednesday.
Jade, I want you to do the end scene where it's like, smash that like button, ring that bell, follow us on Twitter.
Subscribe to our channel if you want to keep up to date with future videos, and there's a notification button that you can press if you want to be notified of our future videos.
Alright, thanks.